What is good, guys and gals, and welcome back to the Films and Pixels podcast, episode 48. I'm your host, Afif. Thank you once again for tuning in, being patient with me. Right now, the podcast series is going through a little bit of a rebranding, music change, logo colors, and so forth. So just some work needed to be done in the meantime, alongside my other working schedule that I have going on at the same time. But, whoops, I shouldn't have moved the table. But anyway, nonetheless, for a while I've been preparing some topics I'm really excited to talk about, looking forward to sharing my thoughts and opinions on them. One of them, obviously, going to be a couple of movies that have become, smash hits in the box office this summer. One of them is an animation from Pixar, Inside Out 2. I'm going to react and review to it. Plus Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm very ecstatic to really talk about it. I'm very excited. But spoiler alert, I enjoyed it. It's awesome. It's amazing. It's still a must watch. As well as talk about a couple of TV shows. One of them just reviewing The Boys Season 4. And also just giving my thoughts and opinions on this Green Lantern show coming soon. Plus one more thing that I'm just going to really just react to also what just happened at this year's San Diego Comic-Con. Big news happened at Comic-Con this year, so I'm just looking forward to talking about it. But again, if you've been patient, thank you. But I hope you stay with me just to talk through the show. And from here on out, let's get going. First, I want to speak on Inside Out 2, a movie that I thoroughly enjoyed, an excellent sequel to Inside Out from 2015. And the fact that we got a sequel to this movie is truly exciting. It's an excellent movie. If you haven't watched it yet, go ahead, but I just want to speak to it. The thing I like about this movie is that it's really like a heartwarming and insightful sequel. And yes, it does expand upon the original's ideas of like all these emotions as different characters, with joy, sadness, coming back, fear, disgust, also included anger. I mean, they're all the same. Although just one quick note, the voice actor for Fear, there was a change. It used to be Bill Hader. Now this time Bill Hader was replaced by Tony Hale. So that's just something to note. But this is still an excellent movie, and I really liked it. And it really gives a powerful message that at its core, it's still like a coming of age movie that celebrates the importance really of embracing all the emotions, including new ones, and new emotion characters were introduced, which I will talk about in a moment. So this is really the important stuff, especially a character like Riley going to a new school with familiar friends, trying to make new friends, trying to make the hockey team, experiencing everything in her mind, trying to go through all her emotions, going from adolescent child to teenager. It's really interesting how that movie is done, and it's excellent with how these emotion characters are incorporated. And, it's really handled in a sensitive and humorous way because it makes it relatable to, for all audiences of all ages. So I think it's just really cool, and it also encourages people to like find balance and acceptance with themselves. And so that's really cool. So, and it's still very heartwarming with a lot of heart and humor. So that's really cool. So one of the key themes I thought, of course, adolescence, emotions, and balance. So try to balance like between like what I mentioned before, anxiety, new ones like anxiety and embarrassment and so forth. So that's just really cool. So part of the film explores Riley trying to grappling, self-doubt, peer pressure, confidence, a desire to fit in, being more anxious and so forth. And with the anxiety emotion, trying to take control of her life in a way. So she faces a lot of new challenges and try to fitting in with new friends and trying to show that she can fit into the hockey team. So I really like how that was done. And again, like I said, I love that joy, sadness, anger, fear, disgust were back. And yes, obviously Riley Anderson, her parents returned as well. And there was like cameos again of their emotions in their head, emotion characters. So that was really cool. And I mentioned new emotions: anxiety, envy, embarrassment, and there is ennui. Ennui, like French, kind of like the French character, more of a French stereotype kind of character. It's like a bored, apathetic emotion, a little bit of sarcasm, kind of like this bored character, ennui. But anyway, anxiety is the one character who really takes center stage as this antagonist. But although to me, I never really saw anxiety as an antagonist. By the way, this character voiced by Maya Hawke, excellent job here. But again, I mean, I think the whole point of anxiety was like this character anxiety trying to do or what she thought was best for Riley instead of changing things of the old guard, of the old way of like core memories. The whole point of anxiety was trying to change core memories. And of course, when you have a new character like anxiety as a teenager, of course, there's going to be new changes. And of course, there's going to be a whole set of challenges and how initially there's difficulty coexisting with anxiety and joy. And there seems to be like a feud between them. And you know what? To me, I didn't really see anxiety as a antagonist, bad guy kind of character, but more as so the character who I thought had misguided ideas of how to be a popular teenager for Riley. So I thought the way anxiety behaved was interesting, especially in the third act when she was overly anxious, hence the name, overly anxious for anxiety. And things got worse for Riley, and so forth. So when there was more of a coexistence between all the emotions with anxiety, in the end, it ended up working out. The embarrassment character was kind of kind of humorous. Embarrassment didn't say much, just acting shy. And then ennui, like just not really caring, just bored. And then, of course, there was envy, like being like wowed by everything. So, but they were all cool. They added more complexity to Riley. And so I really like how they were all included, but it took them until like the third act near the end to like finally find a way to coexist. And there were like other characters, by the way, in the movie. There was like a 2D character, kind of like imitating one of those kids shows, breaking the fourth wall. A stereotypical JRPG 3D video game character, Lance Swordsman, whatever, Lance something, catching the attention of Disgust. And yeah, that was it. I mean, it was still pretty cool. Like the whole point of what Joy and the core characters of the main emotion characters, they were trying to make sure her core memories are back so that Riley stays the same as she's always been, that has made her very kind and loving to everyone around her, and not someone who's trying to be popular and change her personality, which was exactly what anxiety was trying to do. So that was part of the issue there. But I mean, it did well enough to now be the highest grossing animated film of all time, surpassing Frozen 2, the Frozen movies. But the live action Lion King doesn't count in this instance. But still, regardless, definitely a worthy Pixar movie. After maybe a few missteps, there was that Red Panda movie, which was fine, but I would say a worthy Pixar movie to watch in recent years after maybe a few movies. Good enough, but not like really great or memorable. So I think this one is an excellent movie for an animation company that doesn't always like to do sequels, but did a really great job here. So I thought that this is still an excellent movie, and I encourage everyone to watch it if they haven't done so yet this summer. Deadpool and Wolverine. Holy fucking shit. I'm so excited to react and review this movie. I've been wanting to watch this movie, knowing how excellent the first two excellent Deadpool movies were. Just seeing Hugh Jackman come back as Wolverine, unexpected, and honestly just finding videos of how the whole thing came together. I really loved it. I really enjoyed it. I'm really glad that Disney gave full approval, letting it be bloody, brutal, R-rated, all the curse words, all the funny, dirty jokes, making fun of Fox, making fun of Disney, calling out the MCU throughout the Phase 4 era when it really was at a low point. Like any kind of jokes, even towards Kevin Feige, jokes towards the MCU in general, 20th century era with X-Men movies, jokes approved. I'm not kidding. Like there's videos of like saying, was there anything cut out? No, they're all approved. All the jokes, making fun of Marvel, like literally approved. And this is something I really loved. I love the chemistry of Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. It's no secret that they've been friends for a long time. Their chemistry off the camera, off screen, really great throughout their promotions, throughout their interviews, trailers, whatever, like interviews, everything, like advertisement, the marketing they've done for this movie, going place to place. It's been fun. It's been amazing, especially their relationship with the director Sean Levy. Again, like the whole intention, and of course, let me make it clear: Ryan Reynolds, he is the star. When I say he is the star, he is literally the star in every aspect: writing, casting, you know, collaborating once again with Sean Levy, someone that he's known from a Netflix movie I know I talked about, but a frequent collaborator between Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds, working together again with Hugh Jackman. Really great chemistry. That's important. Excellent action sequences, amazing humor, great cameos. I don't want to spoil it here, but the cameos and the characters included, oh my goodness. They really, really are going in the theme of the multiverse. Now, let me make sure something is clear. Throughout this whole movie, the Deadpool film is still kind of like its own timeline, universe sort of thing, but it's no longer ignoring or pretending that the MCU timeline, otherwise known as Earth 616, or as they like to now say, the sacred timeline, is definitely included. So while there's a reliance on fan service, this is still a superhero movie and it is done well. And the fan service and characters included, even for a few minutes, they are well implemented. So it's not like it's a waste or just for the camera space or anything. But I mean, even though some people may say lack of depth, I mean, there are still strong characters. Like at least they found a way to include Wolverine without disrespecting Logan, because Logan from 2017 is still regarded as really one of the greatest movies in its genre. So I'm really glad it didn't go wrong. Oh, and by the way, can I mention the soundtrack? I mean, the opening soundtrack and the dance that has now gone viral. Oh my goodness. Totally unexpected. And yet it just worked so well, especially like some of the other songs. I'm not going to spoil it, but there is a Spotify playlist of music that has been included, not just in this one, throughout the whole trilogy. So that's just really cool. And I like how there's the MCU integration. And again, like the plot, basically, I love how it's like this guy from the TVA the TVA is in this movie. We've seen the TVA in the Loki series. Some Paradox guy played by this actor who was in Succession, is saying, hey, if you want to matter, you can join the MCU, but your world, will have to be destroyed. I'm going to have to erase your timeline. And of course, like Deadpool, he wants to matter. The whole point is he wants to matter in his life. But at the same time, the people that we've known, the supporting characters in these movies, they matter to him and he doesn't want to lose them. So of course, like he's going to find a way to save his world, his timeline before it ends. And of course, using a multiverse theory, going through some multiverse variant of Wolverine, kind of like a, self-pity, sad, pathetic version of Wolverine who ruined his own life and everyone. So it helped for a duo like them who we always wanted to see together on screen. Obviously a mismatch, which is why it's perfect. It's like an action buddy comedy of two guys trying to find self on a journey of self-discovery, and again, really excellent. Now we know the main characters of Deadpool Wolverine. The main antagonist, Cassandra Nova, played by Emma Corrin. Okay, let me say this. Good job with the acting. Good job with bringing this character, trying to make her frightening in some ways, especially with the hands and the powers and so forth. Nothing against her. It's just at this point, like sometimes just kind of having a hard time, like taking some of these villains seriously. You know what I mean? Just the overall arc of this villain, just the main motivation, just kind of hard to just, take seriously. But yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, this movie, but it is still excellent. It is fun. It is amazing. It is like, seriously, if you're looking for a movie just to go have fun in the summer, enjoy, has an excellent story, excellent action, doesn't tone down with the language, doesn't tone down the R-rated humor, stays bloody and brutal, fan service cameos, totally unexpected. Hopefully, no one on social media spoiled them for you before you go see it, because I'm not. But wow, did they do a good job fitting them in? And wow, did they do a good job at the same time, you know, making jokes and paying respect to Fox in the 20th century era of the Marvel Fox films that included X-Men and Fantastic Four in their catalog before the Disney Fox acquisition. And I'm really glad that gets mentioned, how Disney bought Fox and so forth. I'm really glad. I love how Deadpool, like, literally and willingly calls out the film industry in this whole situation. It's just amazing. So if you want to watch it again, seriously, I would encourage you not just to watch it the first time, second time, third time, fourth time, as much as you want. Seriously, this is the kind of movie that knows it's fun, knows that it's in a way heartwarming, and really a major blockbuster. Like, this is really the defining blockbuster movie of the summer. Go ahead and watch it. This is like a 9.5 out of 10. I mean, I wouldn't mind 10 out of 10, but most would agree 9 to 9.5 out of 10. This is an amazing movie. Go watch it. Seriously, Deadpool Wolverine. Amazing movie. Okay, I want to take this segment to react and review to The Boys Season 4. And honestly, while I didn't think it was awful, it's not at all. I just did not love it. It just was not as good as maybe the second and third season. I think it was the third season mostly revolved around Soldier Boy, so like supposedly an old Soups character and old allies in the past. Yeah, like some of the supporting characters knew Soldier Boy in the past, and Butcher and the boys are just using Soldier Boy just to kill Homelander, and that obviously failed. But season 4 in general was just really about like how to deal with Victoria Newman, and just also kind of using modern politics as well. No shock here. I mean, there is still a lot of that action and gore that goes over the top, and that is fine. I mean, that's really the tone of it. I mean, if you don't like the gore, if you can't handle, body parts being cut and body parts, you know, being sucked out of the bodies and muscles, and you get the whole idea. If you can't handle the gore, Mortal Kombat style gore, then don't watch it. You know, you know. As for the character development, I mean, still Huey trying to be a bigger man, dealing with family problems, and Frenchie going through his own self crisis issues, and then Eminem, Marvin Milk or whatever, with his own family problem. It's sort of a bit similar, but at least it's important. And then obviously there's a personal rivalry between uh, Annie Starlight and some new character. I forgot her name, but I know that she's played by Valerie Curry, someone who has a deep hatred towards Starlight in this movie. So there were a few new characters, like one of them who's like really smart as well, and allied with Homelander and the Seven. And of course, like more importantly, like Butcher doing his best to win over Ryan, Homelander's son, and also what's her name? Ryan is also the son of Rebecca, who was the wife of Butcher, and then was raped by Homelander as well. So there's this weird triangle, but it's already explained in the second season. But Ryan like really going through self conflicts. I like the Will Ferrell cameo in season 4. I love. I think it was one of the episodes. It does make fun of Marvel Studios with like how like Vought Entertainment like having phases planned out of like the next Vought movies, the next 7 hero movies. I forgot which episode, but I thought that was really funny how like it kind of made fun of Marvel in their own way. So that was really cool. It's kind of a wild ride, I would say, but I mean the character journey of like with Homelander and Butcher, Annie, and shit, what's his name? Uh, of Jack Quaid's character, not Doug. But yeah, like kind of they're still all screwed up, you know. And of course, how they dealt with Victoria Newman, it's also brutal. But I'm not going to spoil it. But it still deals with again like social commentary in politics in a way. Current issues that are going on in America, and of course, characters are like or extras protesting to crimes and things like that. And of course, there's more of Homelander descending to madness, which of course he does, and Butcher being more brutal, and now his obsession with Compound V while he's sick, and Starlight struggling with an off-screen storyline of what's it called, having an abortion, and so forth. Yeah, I was gonna say Sister Sage and Firecracker, the new characters introduced. Yeah, Huey. I almost forgot about his name. Yeah, Huey, really being an important character. Trying to look after his dad, and minor spoiler, but his mother, who we didn't see before, shows up for the first time somewhere in season 4. And there's like this, sort like this character kind of mimicking Spider-Man, but in a really disgusting way. It's kind of weird. But yeah, it does tend to be controversial, and that is kind of shocking. But of course, like Homelander being a symbol of far right populations, being a symbol of what's right for America, while he has no shame of killing and torturing people and making fun of people and humiliating people. Think of Homelander as an evil Superman. Homelander is basically Superman if he was evil. And yeah, like still like with Vought, how they manipulate the media, how they're greedy and try to be powerful, their actions go unchecked. Kind of calls out superhero culture, which is interesting how that works. But yeah, I mean, of course, I think the criticism is right. You know what I mean? So, and like how they try to deal with Victoria Newman at some point. And with Butcher dying because of Compound V effects and Homelander's reign, how the boys plan to fight back, new threats, you get the whole idea. You know what I mean? But yeah, it does raise the bar in terms of like intensity. Creativity, I'm not sure. I guess that's always subjective, but the violence does get sometimes overshadow the plot and character development of Huey and Marvin, Kimiko, Frenchie, and so forth. But yeah, I would say like it's a bit too far, because season 1 was a bit dark. They're all dark, but like season 1 was dark, and then season 2 got darker, and then of course season 3 got darker, and it does push the boundary. So you know what I mean, and just Homelander's arc as a super villain, how it keeps growing and growing and growing, and this whole conflict between Butcher and Homelander over what happened to Rebecca, who Butcher loved, So that was it. I think I think the issue to me with The Boys season 4 is really upping the shock value in a lot of ways. Because some of the episodes, although there is like an important story that they're trying to follow through, I wouldn't say anything meaningful, but I just thought that not just season 4, but every episode I think kind of goes a bit too far, but to me, because of the tone they're setting, it's not exactly shocking. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't say I wasn't disappointed. I just didn't love season 4 as much as maybe the previous 3 seasons, but it's not terrible. At least one thing we do know for sure, season 5 will be the last season. So after season 5, that's it for the boys. And that's fine. Maybe in 2 years, because like season 3 was like, well, maybe 2022. I don't know when was season 3, but anyway, it's good that season 4 was here. And also just to kind of promote season 4, Homelander was used as a guest character and the new Mortal Kombat 1 game. Speaking of Mortal Kombat, I'll talk about that in a little bit, but uh yeah, I mean, if you haven't watched The Boys season 4 on Prime Video, go ahead. You'll have mixed feelings. Is it awful? No, but it certainly can be better than it was. So, but it's all right for what it is. I do want to cover an announcement of the Green Lantern series, and it's ironic that I'm talking about Green Lantern, considering that once upon a time, when Ryan Reynolds starred as Green Lantern, that failed miserably, and it's still made fun of to this day by Ryan Reynolds himself throughout all the Deadpool movies, which I'm really glad. But yeah, with that aside, there's going to be a Green Lantern TV show at some point, live action on HBO, and it's going to focus on both Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan characters. And it's expected to be part of this new DC Universe rebooted franchise that's going to start next year on Superman Legacy. And of course, James Gunn will have creative control. The same James Gunn, by the way, in this year's San Diego Comic Con revealed DC Studios logo. But yeah, I think that's going to be good. And of course, like more focus on, the whole cosmos scope, space, the mythos of the Green Lantern, the detective story. Hopefully, like characters like Sinestro included. And of course, hopefully, like more characters like, Hal's love interest, like Carol Ferris and other character, his best friend Tom Kalmaku, Guy Gardner, another Green Lantern character. But at least it's good. Like James Gunn and Peter Safran, the leading heads of DC Studios are gonna take charge of how it's gonna go. So it's gonna be important. Hopefully the budget will work with the visual effects. Complex characters, the tone, good pacing, managing the fan expectations. Because I think it's fair that we're all hoping that we're still bummed out about like how the Green Lantern movie turned out to be awful, especially since that suit completely animated and just with visual effects. Like there was no real costume made, you know. But there's opportunities for it to go expand in this new DC universe. You know, craft interesting characters, give them interesting arcs, strong character development, hopefully better visuals, good representations as well. I'd like to see a crossover with other DC characters, like maybe a crossover with whoever is casted as Green Arrow, The Flash, crossover with Superman as well, crossover with any other characters as well. I would love to see a crossover of new characters. It'd be good if popular with audiences. I mean, like after what happened. And I love the jokes that come from Deadpool on this, so it's just amazing to see. But yeah, I mean, I think it can go well. There's an opportunity to fix this because it's better to have a Green Lantern movie. No, sorry, let me rephrase that. A Green Lantern TV series instead of a new Green Lantern movie. Not just because of what happened last time, but I think the character itself not as extremely popular as obviously like Batman, who we rarely see on TV, and yet we always see Superman either in a movie or in a TV show. You know, so and Wonder Woman. There are other popular DC characters beyond the Trinity, like Aquaman, for example. But since the DC extended universe ended with Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom, I think next year is a good opportunity to really have better story arcs. We've already we're already aware of the chapters of like chapter one, chapter two, chapter three, like gods and monsters and that sort. But with the show like this on TV, there's a good opportunity to, I think, really do well and be more creative and branch out the story. So, uh, I think it's just fair to see how it goes. We don't know when production starts, when post production starts, but when it's release date, when it's streaming on HBO, I mean, let's just hope it goes well. If there's even a second season, that means, first season is a hit. Okay, look, one final topic. I really want to talk about what happened at San Diego Comic Con this year. Okay, first, one important story that happened. New details on Mortal Kombat 1 Chaos Reigns bundle. Now, then again, sort of like what happened in MK11, a story expansion of Chaos Reigns, Havoc, main antagonist, three new DLC fighters of Noob Saibot, and female versions of Sector and Cyrax included. And of course, Combat 2 pack. We don't know when. By the way, the Chaos Reigns September 24 release. But as for Combat Pack 2, Terminator T800, Terminator T1000, the Liquid Terminator, modeled and voiced by Robert Patrick, coming back. Ghostface from the Scary Movie series, and of course Conan the Barbarian, modeled with the Arnold Schwarzenegger look, but I don't think he's going to be voiced by Arnold. And the third part, animalities are back, which is pretty cool. I mean, first times it's like what Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, we've seen animalities, so that was pretty cool to see. But yeah, really the main focus of this year's San Diego Comic Con, even though, of course, more details on Fantastic Four have subtitled First Steps, Fantastic Car, in a separate sort of timeline as well, with the whole multiverse thing. But the most important story, Robert Downey Jr. is back in the MCU, but not as who we think. He's going to come back as Doctor Doom. It is actually insane to know that Robert Downey Jr. is coming back to the MCU as Doctor Doom. Now, I don't think he'll be Victor Von Doom variant. I think he's going to be a different variant of an evil Tony Stark, but from a different multiverse. And I think that's good in terms of storytelling for creative purposes. I think it's better this way. If he's an evil Tony Stark, but as Doctor Doom, I think that could work. With this one, Avengers Doomsday 2025 and Avengers Secret Wars in 2026, effectively ending any plans of Avengers the Kang Dynasty due to recent legal issues from Jonathan Majors, which is disappointing. But then again, I'm not sure if Marvel Studios really did a good job trying to thread together the whole multiverse in Phase 4, even though there were TV shows as well. And not a lot of hype. I don't think there was a lot of hype regarding Kang. I know we saw Kang in Quantum Mania, but I just don't think it worked out as well as maybe like building up the hype of Thanos from the first Avengers movie and then Age of Ultron. And then like I think towards the end of Thor Ragnarok. So I think there's a good opportunity to really pivot from Kang to Doctor Doom here, especially now that Marvel Studios has all the access to all the Marvel characters that they couldn't before. Even though they're still sharing Spider-Man, I think there are no longer any issues.
A few minutes later.
Sorry about that. A minor technical difficulty with the camera. But anyway, I was just saying, I think there's a good opportunity with all the characters now back at Marvel Studios. Kevin Feige has access and no longer worrying about restrictions or any changes to the storylines inspired by comics. Especially the whole part when Wanda and Pietro, Quicksilver, Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch, before they couldn't say that they're the children of Magneto. So hopefully there's a way to rectify that in some ways. But again, like I was just gonna say, uh, rights are back in Marvel Studios, and I think there's a good opportunity to do something really special in Phase 6. But with the way Phase 4 went and how Phase 5 started with mixed results, at least Guardians Volume 3, really good, you know, and Deadpool Wolverine, amazing and awesome, and really fun. But yeah, with SDCC presentation, with the Russo brothers coming back directing, I think it can go well, but just cautiously optimistic. Yeah. Hopefully I'm not the only one who's cautiously optimistic. All right, guys and gals, that pretty much wraps it up for the Films and Pixels podcast, episode 48. Thanks for tuning in from beginning to end. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for listening and watching. I really appreciate the love and support. Again, subscribe, comment, share, whatever you want. It means a lot to me if you do any of that. Thank you again for taking up your busy time from your busy schedule for me. And yeah, from here on out, closing out this episode saying good day and good night.